Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Hobo Slayers Team Stream podcast. I'm Treasure Hunter Tom. With me, I have DanzikStreams and NikUncut today. Why don't we get started by having you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves? I haven't met either of you yet, so Danzik, why don't we start with you?
Hi, DanzikStreams. I'm a local from the Huntsville, Alabama area, like Miss Hobo Slayer is. I've really joined the team pretty recently, about 2-3 weeks ago. I'm a variety streamer. I play just a little about whatever comes out, whatever really just interests me. Mostly RPGs. Currently into Borderlands 3.
Awesome,
The
awesome.
Legend of Zelda, and probably Code Vein next week when it comes out. So.
Ooh, okay.
Awesome. All right, Nick, tell us about yourself.
Oh, I guess that means it's me. Hello, everyone. My name is Nick, otherwise known as NikUncut here online. Don't call it a comeback. This is my second time. I'm actually not from the Alabama region originally. I'm actually originally from South Chicago, but now I live in Alabama for some reason, so I'm hanging out with these awesome folks. I am a variety streamer who plays a lot of Rainbow Six Siege, if that makes any sense. So,
I got you.
but it comes down to playing whatever sounds fun and cool, and a lot of the times it's been Rainbow Six. So,
Shooters are not usually my forte, but I do love the looter shooters. I can hit that niche, and I love things like Fallout and Borderlands. So I'm Treasure Hunter Tom. I'm also a variety streamer, but I tend towards RPGs mostly. Some mobile games here and there. I've been streaming for a little over a year. So most of it's been like charity based, but I've been kind of focusing on my personal channel a lot more lately. Looking for more opportunities to grow that first so I can have a bigger audience for the charity stuff I do.
nice.
But recently I took a pretty long break, probably about close to a month, from just a head injury. After work, I sat down in my hammock. The pole that it was attached to broke and flew right into my forehead.
man.
So I had a massive lump, like right above my eyebrow. It was pretty rough. So that hit me, or kept me from hitting the live button for quite a while. Have you guys ever had any personal injuries that have kept you from streaming? And would you have streamed if you had a giant lump on your forehead?
I mean, as far as the streaming goes, like I've always been very on and off, and I haven't really been streaming since. I went to streaming very more seriously since this spring. So I got about 2 months of streaming in before I had nose surgery done because I haven't been able to breathe through my nose since I was like 8 or 9 years old.
Oof.
Because I did martial arts and sports and fights and all the things growing up as a young, wild, idiot kid.
Hmm.
And so I was out for 3 weeks to a month because they had to go cut my nose open and like completely reconstruct everything internally inside my
Wow.
face. Yeah.
Holy cow.
But now I can actually inhale through my nose, and it's the greatest feeling ever because I can actually smell food.
That's a plus.
Not even kidding. The first thing I did when I left the doctor's office to get all the gauze and things like vacuumed out, I went to my favorite place in town, and I've always loved their wings and like their all-you-can-eat wings.
Mhm.
And he put the tray of wings down on my table, and I actually like broke out in tears because I could
Oh,
smell
wow.
it for the first time. And I was like, "What have I been missing? What is my life?" Just full existential crisis.
That's like the people that have the eye implants that can finally see colors and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yes, it's exactly that. Like, it's crazy.
And it sucks. I love cooking, so I've always kind of cooked by like, I think this will do good. This will do fine. I can't smell it, but I can maybe do a little bit of tasting.
I can definitely do that.
You might hand somebody a plate full of food that smells like a raunchy fart, and you'd never know.
As long as it tastes good, then I mean, why are you complaining?
I'm trying to think about how many times that I've walked into a bathroom, but the stench has prevented me from like doing anything. So part of me was like,
No,
Could
I'm in
I
my
do
element.
that?
Catch me before the spring of this year. You could have dropped me off in like the sewers of some kind of like terrorist rundown city, and I'd be like, I'm going in. I'm the only one who can infiltrate this one.
Speaking of good food places, we've recently got a couple here in Minnesota where I'm from. We got an arcade that's part bar. It's got like probably like 200 machines in there. And then we got another place just dedicated to like tabletop gaming, where it's like a
Nice.
cafe restaurant. You go in, you eat. They give you a giant table. Bring whatever games you want, or bring your own. So they're kind of trending like borderline hipster stuff, but I think it's pretty cool that the gamers out there are making their own places for for us to go and hang out and eat. You guys have any places like that you like to go to?
For myself, there's a place here because I'm actually I'm around the Birmingham area, so going up to Huntsville is a little bit of a drive, but I will surely make it for the next meetup as always. But there's a place out here called Saturn that is like a retro 50s style bar that pretty much has like the wall of every board game, and many I haven't heard of. There's a wall of just consoles set up. They have all the cool mini retro consoles, and then in the back is actually a concert venue.
Oh, cool.
So,
Oh, wow.
so once a month they do, or actually a couple times a month, they do a retro games night. There's some cool storytelling nights, and then there's just a lot of great concerts. So it's one of my favorite spaces to go to.
Awesome. There's getting to be a lot of startups around here of like esports type venues. A lot of them are like Kickstarter trying to get money to make it happen, but I mean, I'll be glad when it does. I'm not personally into esports that much, but I just like the scene hitting, like actual locales outside of homes.
I know our local Huntsville universities are starting to build up more esports venues with their facilities. Other than that, we have Pints and Pixels, which is an arcade bar on the second story of a building downtown. Bunch of old style arcade cabinets and drinks, and they partnered with Anaheim Chili, so it's pretty good to actually eat there. And there's a few other cafes in the area that like people come and play Magic the Gathering or
right.
D&D sessions, tabletop sessions. I go to one called Lucky Dice Cafe every other Sunday, usually when there's a game to play with my D&D group, but it's all right.
You guys do a lot of D&D then?
I did. I have drastically cut that down because I started streaming, and I've been enjoying streaming more currently.
Yeah, I've been having difficulties finding time to actually set aside specific days to do that type of thing. I got a wife, kid, full-time job, so just streaming alone is about as much as I can handle for set schedules.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even then, it gets difficult. But
let's see here.
You guys
have the chat up here on the side.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you guys are pretty big into anime, I think. I saw Danzig earlier had a mask that he was told to wear.
We're gonna get right into the good stuff.
Let's go right here. Yay or nay, chat? Should I wear this and get muffled for the entire stream? I probably look better.
We were talking about this before we went live, but just like all these stock anime grunts and sounds, we're just like.
It wouldn't be right without a NANI! So what's your guys' favorite anime? Which of the shows that are currently out there can you just not afford to miss?
I definitely have an awkward taste for anime. I've always been more of a slice of life comedy person.
Those are fun.
Sorry. So like I understand there's a lot of them out there, and a lot of them are like cheesy or crappy, but just like the cheesiness gets me. Current things I'm watching right now it's Sonnen Deska, which are we lost? It's about 4 girls who get shipwrecked on a trip, and they have to survive on an island. And it's like, oh, look at this cute pop bar to see how everything's happy, but the actual show is like one's a survival expert, and 3 girls who have never had to survive a day of their life outside of the city. It's just like, you need to cut open this rabbit and like we gotta survive. And it's like, what do you mean? No, I can't do that. You're gonna have to.
Oh, that's good.
Don't worry, if you crush up this salmon blood right here and stuff it through your shirt, it acts as actual water for hydration. What? No!
Kind of reminds me a little bit of Dr. Stone, where they're just kind of starting in the primeval territory and working their way back up.
Dr. Stone looks really good, but it looks like I'm still in a binge. I usually let the binge, so.
Yeah, it's still in its early stages, but I love it already. I never miss an episode.
As long as the good story and isn't over the top with fan service, I'm down for any anime myself. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Even then, but then I'm a fan service trash sometimes, depending on the show.
Yeah, the only walk of life anime I've watched recently was My Roommate is a Cat.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yes.
I love that show.
That show is excellent.
Surprised it didn't get teased for it. You guys like it too?
No, absolutely not. It's great.
No, that show is a ton of fun. Like.
Mainstream one though, it's got to be Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Demon Slayer one. Just the art style. The art style had me hooked with the more Oriental brush, like the ancient Eastern brushstroke kind of style with like the swordplay and the animated effects.
Oh yeah, when he does those anime attacks where he quotes it before he swings it, the waterfalls, water wheels, and all that.
Yeah, every anime attack you have to call out its name, or else it's just not going to work properly. But yeah, they have actually the added effects that really kind of bring it out, and it's a pretty funny show.
It's like the chant before a spell you see in Final Fantasy.
I mean, how are you supposed to destroy the country if you're not using Ultima, and you have to let them know you're using Ultima?
I mean... Oh, no.
And the more you talk about your spell, the stronger it'll be. Facts.
So that's what I've been doing wrong. Okay.
You guys catch up on Black Clover at all? That's my second favorite.
I've shonen trash, but I just never got into Black Clover. It annoyed me too much in the early.
That's one that I keep getting recommended. I know very little about it, so I'm interested to actually jump in because unlike every other anime series where I feel like I get recommended, and by recommended I mean I get told the entire plot of the first season.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I guess I'll watch this then. I know little to nothing about that series, so I'm actually interested to check it out.
Yeah. One of the two main characters, his name's Asta. He screams just a ton. Like he can never lower his voice for anything.
That was like the ideal breaker. It was just like, dude, shut up! I'm trying to like read and listen, and it's hurting.
Is there a way I can mute just his audio, please?
So I've heard they've got a dub version of it on Toonami where he doesn't sound quite as awful in the screaming nonsense.
That might be a show I watch dubbed then.
That sounds like a relative thing. I'm like, yeah, it's better. You know, he screams a little less. It's just a lot of screaming still, though.
When you watch Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super, you expect the screaming because it's in the moment, but he just screams for absolutely no reason.
Yep.
He's like, I need to go to the market for a jug of milk. Ah!
I've got to go get my license now. Ah! I'm talking about some bad anime filler.
Been catching 7 Deadly Sins as of late on the flick. 7 Deadly Sins.
That's a fantastic show. Netflix has a lot of good anime.
They left off good on that last season.
I'm genuinely impressed with that kind of show because, like, big thing for me with anime, obviously, is it's about, we're in for the characters. And the way that show handles relationships between characters is something I really haven't seen in any other show.
Like, the relationship between Meliodas and Bond is just so good. That bright, happy, we're best friends, but there's a lot of like actual background turmoil. Next to it, we're so overpowered, we're just gonna beat each other to actual death and come back from it. Like the whole it was like OTA or whatever. Like between seasons 1 and season 2, where he's just like, hey, we need to have that fight, and they make like the indestructible sphere, and they just like duke it out and have a show behind them.
Yeah, I usually watch a lot of anime with my daughter. Her and I like to sit through just binge shows like crazy. I started watching that one, and I thought for a moment that it would be a good show to watch with her. And then Meliodas starts grabbing the female's body parts inappropriately, and,
There's a point.
and I was like, oh, maybe not. Maybe I'll save this for her when she's older, maybe.
We're gonna teach you about fan service, okay?
This show's really good. I hope there's no fan service. Flip. Oh, there it is. There it is.
Can't avoid it.
What kind of shows of you like? What's your daughter's like favorite anime right now?
Actually, yeah.
She watches a lot of. I think lately it's been Black Butler, but then before that she binged the hell out of My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
And I know it's just been a while since the show's been on, but that's her absolute favorite. Posters on the wall and figures on stands in there.
I can't wait for the next season.
Yeah,
indeed.
That show is so good. It's another one of those where it has such mainstream appeal to it that it's been crazy.
Yeah.
Like the people who aren't into anime are into the show.
I love shows like that.
King of the Hill is my favorite anime.
I mean,
I was a Cory in the House kind of guy, but yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so not pictured on the shelf behind me are all 13 seasons of King of the Hill, so we'll save that conversation. I tell you what.
Oh.
Nick's about to bring the propane.
Every time I think of King of the Hill, I can't get the or meme out of my head of Hank, and the picture of him punching after.
What?
I'd have to find it for you and give you guys a link later. But it's
That sounds hilarious.
I think what is that JoJo show where whenever they do like attacks or punches, they go or. So
yeah, it's like crazy.
Yeah, so there's a meme of Hank doing that with that perfect voice.
Yes, I've seen that video.
I'm surprised I haven't seen that yet. I know I saw the animated one where it was like Pokemon King of the Hill, but it's like Bobby is Butterfree.
Butterfree, I choose
Butterfree! I'm okay, Dad.
Yo, the man, the dang Charizard, man.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. There's another great one, which was the Neon Genesis Evangelion theme, but with just King of the Hill, and it scares me how much work was put into it because it's actually great to watch.
Interesting. You'll have to find me the link for that later. I gotta see it.
Oh yeah.
You can put the Neon Genesis Evangelion theme to just about anything. It's just a banger at that point.
That theme is so good.
Did you guys rewatch it when it came out on Netflix?
Yes.
I
ended up rewatching it.
Yeah.
It's on the list. The quote-unquote list.
So they changed the voices just a little bit in the remake for Netflix. They
re-edited some of the dialogue too.
Yeah. So if you're a fan of the original, you may or may not notice it. And I've got a few friends that just hated it, couldn't sit through it. But I watched it all.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not that much of a super fan, so.
As someone who sat through both versions, it's noticeable, but for the most part, I didn't see any changes that I was like, oh, that's a bad change. It's more of it's more accessible. And honestly, that show could use a little bit more accessibility,
Yeah.
It's not the most inviting show in the world.
So for you anime purists, probably a pass, but for everyone else,
yeah,
probably okay.
If you're looking to get into it, it's a good place to go with it. It's, the voices that they've changed are, good choices, but overall, it's still the same great story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just got some ridiculous undertones of biblical themes and
that show's got some
end of the world stuff.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
I wanted to go back and rewatch after I watched Darling in the Franxx when it came out, but
binged every episode in a day and a half.
Of what, Darling? Or
yeah.
Neon?
Yeah.
Oh. What did you think of that? What did you think of that one?
I didn't like the ending as much as I liked the length of the series. I just thought it would be more climactic with how things turned out, but
I think they got rushed by by how many episodes they were allowed to have at the end. They definitely wanted to tell more. Because it's just like, hey, we've got this great story up until about the last 4 or 5 episodes, and then it's just like...
That's what Evangelion was.
Yeah, it's just Evangelion.
True. It's like, fine, you got 2 episodes and half the budget, go.
Darling in the Evangelion.
I mean, like, that happened famously with, like, outside of the world of anime. It happened to The Walking Dead in the 2nd season, where that show in its 2nd season, they cut the budget in half. So for half of that season, they're just in one location.
Yeah, the farm.
And yeah, and that's why people are like, man, that part is really painful and boring to get through. It's like, yeah, because they cut the budget for that show in half.
Ouch. I still watched it anyway. I just finished off season 9 when it came out on Netflix a few weeks ago.
There are 9 seasons?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have not seen season 9 because I stopped after season 8. It's just
8 was amazing. I loved 8, but 9, you won't be nearly as impressed with 9 as you were 8.
It's to a point for me where I very much was, I was the guy. I watched it the night it premiered. I was huge on the show. And with that last season, I was watching it out of obligation, where I was like, well, I got to clear off my DVR at some point.
Oh, no.
And going through it, I was like, I think I think this is my place to step out,
Where Candace, season 1 still was best and was only like 6 episodes or so. Yeah, I really like season 1. That's what got me into it. But
yeah,
I can't remember what season I dropped. I think it was like season 4 or season 5. It was the season after the governor, was his name? Badman Eye Patch.
Yes.
Season after he got his eye patch. Like, that season was where I fell off like halfway through it. So whatever that one was.
That's probably like 4 or 5, I think.
But I caught up all the Twitter memes and things like the Negan bat and people who died. And
Negan was at the absolute worst. I hate it. Like, not as in like a bad character, but like he played the role of a villain all too well. You really learn to hate that guy.
He's the villain. He's the villain that you love to hate. He's like a good wrestling heel, where you're actively rooting for him to lose. But when he does something bad, you're not like.
He's like the Kefka of TV.
There we go.
God, Kefka. That's a
there
good.
we go.
Okay, then you got me there. That's a good comparison.
That's a good one.
Although I saw like on Twitter because I watched Supernatural, and I've caught up
I'm sorry.
the seasons.
I'm so sorry.
Right at this point, it's an obligation, except for when they got me with the Scooby-Doo crossover. But that's a whole other thing. But yeah, like there's a tweet from the guy who plays Dean. I forget their names. But he was like, "Hey, Dad, I found this in the back of the Impala. And it's the spiked bat from the from Walking Dead." And he's like, "You don't want to know what that is, son. Put it away."
Yeah, Supernatural was another show like that where I very much I got up to a point. I think it was season 10 where I was like, I think I'm done. Like, I still pop in for a few episodes when I get told like, "Hey, here's a good one," because there are a couple good ones out of each season. But I just can't sit through another 22 episodes of the CW.
They're a little too PG at times. So that show just wasn't for me.
Yeah. Well, those first 2 seasons though were actually pretty ambitious, and then it just kind of.
That's because they've only wrote up to like season 4, and that's where they're supposed to stop. But they were like, no, this is good. Keep it going.
Yep. Well, now that guy is doing the show The Boys on Amazon Prime. So.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what's his name? Eric. What is it? Like Eric Krip, the guy who did Supernatural, is doing the show The Boys on Amazon, and that show is amazing. So
I haven't.
They had me come back on the Scooby-Doo episode.
I haven't subscribed to Amazon in a long time, so I don't know anything about any of their shows right now. Too many subscriptions.
Eric Kripke, that's correct.
Eric Kripke, yeah, okay. I do like Eric Kripke's work, so.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking of checking it out on Amazon because I might as well use my Prime subscription for something like Prime.
That show is legitimately great. The first episodes, I'm a total film nerd, but that first episode is done by Dan Trachtenberg. He's the guy who did 10 Cloverfield Lane and that awesome Portal short film.
Oh, okay.
And he does a few of the episodes for that show as well. It's also egregiously violent, so I mean.
Wow, okay then.
It's hard to not watch those things.
You know, like Amazon's been stepping it up. They have a few good shows under their belt now.
Even
Okay.
in the anime department, they're getting a pretty good exclusives over there.
They're figuring out where the money is.
Do you guys see Apple's doing some new exclusive TV thing?
Oh yeah.
I heard about it, but I haven't actually looked into it because I'm not much of an Apple person.
Yeah, I'm either.
It's from what I've seen, because I did watch the conference and I follow all of this because I don't need any personal growth as a person. I'll just watch tech stuff. But their TV stuff is actually interesting. It's $5 a month. That's what it comes down to.
It's cheaper than
$5
most
a month
subscriptions for TV services.
It is the cheapest one out there, and if you buy any of their products, you get a year of it for free. The issue though is that some of the shows, like they've pitched a few that look cool, but some of them, like the one show they tried to show off is, it's Jason Momoa who's the lead on it, and it's basically humanity has lost its sight for a few generations until they aren't anymore. Go, that's the show.
Weird.
Like,
I saw a writing prompt like that once.
that is it. Like the show feels like a writing prompt, and like, oh, by the way, we got Jason Momoa wearing contacts. You know,
Mad libs and
everyone
beefy
has the
muscles.
cloudy eye. Everyone's wearing the cloudy eye. You know,
Did he
like
flex
contacts.
in the natural beauty, just blind the world? Like, what's going on?
Well, I mean, they can't see it, so like, it's like, oh, we just had kids, and wait, the kids can see, and the show's literally called See. Like,
That's a double face palm for that one.
A writing prompt premise with a writing prompt title.
I think I saw this prompt on Reddit like last week.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. They have a few more things they really need to show off, but they have a couple shows coming up that sound interesting. One of them is, what if it's the space race, but what if the Russians got to the moon first? And then there's one of them, and I forget the cast for it, but it's a big cast, and that's all you need to know.
All right.
Like that had the name like something Castle, maybe?
No, it's a show with one of, what's her name from Friends? Hold on. I will figure this out. Yes.
Okay. That's the only one I know, so.
It's her first TV role since that.
Oh.
And that was the big deal of like, oh wait, she's coming back to TV? And then this is partially going to work because Apple has ungodly amounts of money to put into this. So I mean, you're going to go big on this.
Wasn't Ubisoft trying to get into the TV movie game?
They do
Not
have.
sure.
I mean, they had that Assassin's Creed movie,
Which
is frustrating because on paper, just based on like the talent, the writers, the directors, it's not implausible to see something good out of it. But if you're like me and you sat through that movie, man.
Yeah, that was a homesick Saturday. Doing, nothing else on. I sat through that and I was not happy with it. Not impressed at all. I fell asleep partway through and I don't feel like I missed anything.
It's probably the best way to see it, unlike me who sat through it in the theater for some reason.
No. You poor thing.
I was like, there's nothing else to see. Let's go see the Michael Fassbender, no.
Every time I hear of a bad movie, I just remember an anime called Baka Test.
Yes.
And like the scene where they're going to the movies, and he's like, "We're gonna go see this movie. It's 3 hours long. We're gonna see it twice." And she tases him in the middle of it. He goes unconscious and wakes up at the same scene he was knocked out at the second showing. Like, is that how I have to watch a bad movie? Because it's about how I can get through it.
As someone who's, again, like, film is one of my biggest things. I do write reviews and things like that for film, and man, there's something about a bad film. Like, there's like subgenres of bad movies. Like there's some that you walk out and you're like, that was terrible. Others you're like, that was hilarious and terrible.
The so bad it's good types.
Be in a rage, like
there are good bad movies, there are bad movies, and there are good movies. And like one good bad movie, I think, just because it's so out there, was that one Psycho Killer Tire movie.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Rubber? Yeah, that was it. That was like, I'll admit, we were at my buddy's his birthday. We were doing a lot of drinking that night, but that movie made sense.
I love movies like
I
that.
think again,
My favorite one to reminisce about is one called Reeker, where it's just like the bad guy is just a giant fart cloud that just destroys people in their dreams. It makes no sense, but that's scary movies for you.
That sounds great.
that's a yikes for me, dog. That's
Box office hit.
Yeah. So bad it's good. Now, when we talk about something that's good instead of bad, what games are you guys most hyped for that are coming out?
Oh man, I gotta remember what's coming out now suddenly.
I can tell you what the top of it is, but it's not coming out for a little while. Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I'm right there with you. Exactly.
They also announced the classic mode at the Tokyo Game Show. So a lot, like my boss was like, I'm a huge FF7 fan. He's just like me, like that. Same regard. He's like, but I don't like the battle system. I wish we had the classic mode. And then they announced it 3 days later at the Tokyo Game Show. He comes back next to me. I'm like, I got good news, boss.
I'm not sure which mode I'd want to play it through, honestly. I'd probably try the new version of it, like in its entirety first, and then if I didn't like it, maybe switch to classic after. But I'm really excited.
Well. I think classic mode has a lot of promise in the speedrunning community, but the ATB active battle system is going to be a lot more just for the actual, because the way it was from the gameplays and the demos they showed. Like, they actually implemented the new mechanic and gameplay system pretty well into their fights, as opposed to just turn-based, pick attack, pick magic, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Which, don't get me wrong, I grew up on old Final Fantasy, like 1, 2, 4, 6. Like, I played those, and I love the classic turn-based. I'm a sucker for it, but...
Yeah, I'm a big Final Fantasy nerd myself. I've played almost every single one with the exception of 11. And there's a couple of extras like 13, the Final Fantasy 13's expansions. I didn't get to play through those.
You're not missing anything with those.
Yeah, I understand that. That's why I haven't gone back to play through them yet.
Yeah.
I got through 13.2 somehow. I'd never touched 13.3.
Yeah. Final Fantasy VII. I really want to be excited for it, but the fact that it's not the entire game is just a big red flag for me.
Not the entire game.
Is?
Explain.
Yeah.
It's just up to Midgar.
Like, in the part in Final Fantasy where you leave Midgar, that's where that entire game is going to cut off.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that coin is that they're going to give you, it's still going to be like an 80-hour long game, because they're actually like now wanting to tell the full story of Midgar, flesh out the side characters, the Avalanche group, give you this, that, and that, all the side things. And actually like building the world up and making it to a bigger scale. And so, while you only get to Midgar, I think there's going to be like 2 or 3 more games they're going to release in a few years apart from each other. That's going to be huge sections of the overall story.
Yeah.
Remake 2, Remake 3.
It might be like 7 Remake Part 2, and then it's going to have a bad name. Like Final Fantasy sequels to a numbered game, but not a numbered sequel, always have terrible names.
I mean, look at Kingdom Hearts, though. Same director, and you can't really expect it to happen at this point. Final Fantasy VII Dream Drop Remix 372 4189
4G LTE.
Yeah. LTE. Presided by Verizon Wireless.
Oh, no.
So that's why the game took a while. Okay.
They had a lot of naming and a lot of patents they had to get down on that one.
A lot of brand deals were involved. So that one looks exciting. I'm looking at this list that I pulled up here of just games that are coming up, and I'm looking through them, and man, we really are in the back half of the year. Like,
oh yeah, no, we're in quarter 3.
Yeah, Destiny 2 Shadowkeep is about a week away.
There's a lot of people that'd be hyped for that, but
I can't wait to get back into that game.
I've never been I was on the original Destiny hype train, and then I got really disappointed by it, and I dropped it. And I played a little bit of 2 until the first raid came out, and then I'm back off it. I can't get back into it.
Yeah. I got Destiny 2 in a Humble Bundle, played through the entire story, but It didn't feel like it was for me with the endgame content. I liked the story. It was fun, good game to play through, and like as far as just single player content goes for that type of game, but
Oh yeah.
didn't stick.
Sorry, looking at this list ahead, just like I'm looking at the big titles coming up, like Ghost Recon Breakpoint's coming up here soon. We got
Code Vein drops next Friday.
Yes,
I'm going to do a day one. I've been hyped on that game since it was announced, and I'm going to do a day one stream of that.
I've been quietly excited for that since they announced it.
You say Code Vein? Is that
yeah.
correct? I've never heard of it.
It's a Bandai Namco game, but it's basically animated Dark Souls.
Yeah.
That got me intrigued. I played every game in the Dark Souls series. Loved them.
If you're a Dark Souls fan, you're probably going to get a good kick out of this one.
I'll keep an eye out for it.
Pretty similar.
Looking outside of that, we have The Witcher 3 coming to Switch. I just had to point that out because I like saying The Switcher 3.
Oh god. So okay, I'm a sinner who hasn't played The Witcher 3 or Witcher 2. But yeah, I know, guy. Hold on. Put down the torches.
Chat, get him.
Yeah, I've been through about 3/4 of the first Witcher game, and I never finished it. So I want to go back at some point and finish the first before I move on to the others. So I haven't played them either.
Nah, I kid, of course. And, I'm gonna put down my pitchfork here. That game is amazing now.
At least you made the conscious effort to try and play it. It's just I haven't made that effort, and I don't know if I will or not. But I've watched videos of it, and I like the graphics and things. Though they announced Witcher 3, the graphic drop they had to do for it to work on there, actually kind of made me sick.
Yeah, that's kind of the way things go with a lot of the games that get ported over to Switch. It's just kind of an unfortunate thing with the territory.
I say that as someone with about 20 hours in the Skyrim on Switch, so...
Okay.
Yeah, on PC that would be 800.
I every Skyrim re-release or whatever. I just want the novelty to get it out to people who haven't played it. But I was working at GameStop when Skyrim was released, and I went home and I binged it. I did everything, and I 100% the game, and now I just can't for the life of me go back and do it on a new save. It's just too painful.
Yeah, I hear you. I only ever got the original Skyrim, just the vanilla version, and I never felt the need to get the expansions for it because I would just mod the hell out of it. And that felt like it was enough of an expansion for me that I didn't need to spend another dime because I could find endless content out there for free.
Exactly. Looking at this list ahead, I'm just going to try and plow through the big ones. Call of Duty Modern Warfare is coming up real soon. That beta's running this weekend, actually. That thing is... that beta's really good. I'm impressed. That crossplay works. That's the crazy thing. What else we got coming up? Luigi's Mansion 3.
I'm excited for that one.
Interesting.
That looks fun.
Dragon Quest 11 for the Switch drops on the 27th of this month.
Yep.
I played through all of it except for the last boss. I played it on the super hard mode, and I haven't taken him down yet. And it makes me so mad that I need to spend so much time just leveling up. And I haven't forced myself to do it. Sometimes it's hard to push yourself to grind.
It is. Ukulele and the Impossible Lair, but I'm an old Rare fanboy, so I was pretty hyped with Ukulele.
Looking at this one I actually do want to point out. It's a game called After Party, and just tell me if this pitch intrigues you, because this is why I ended up paying for this game already. So you have to outdrink the devil.
So my typical Friday nights.
So it's pretty much it's the people who did Oxenfree. You die, and in order to get out of hell, you have to outdrink the devil in one night.
Oh.
But the game looks fascinating. It's the people who did Oxenfree. The art style looks incredible. I'm excited to see what it actually is besides that pitch.
Sometimes that's all a good indie game needs.
I mean, that's a strong pitch.
Let's either bring in Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz HD to PS4, Xbox One, and Switch and PC. That's always a fun drinking game. And also a fun drinking game. You just get progressively worse. Every time you fall off, you take a sip, and then you just get
that sounds like a
horribly
terrible
destroyed.
idea. Like,
It is. It's just like Mario Party, and every time you're not first place, you have to drink.
if you're not first, you're last. I get it.
So if you guys are into animes and RPGs, did you guys see any news about Dragon Ball Kakarot coming out?
It's in January, I think, right?
Something
Is
like
that
that. Think so. I've seen. It's supposed to be just like the entire Dragon Ball story of like Kakarot's life, right?
Yeah, just in an open world RPG format.
I mean, I've never been one for the DBZ games personally. Fighters is like the closest to a games that I actually enjoyed.
Yeah, I'm glad to see one that's closer to true RPG coming out for the Dragon Ball series because the vast majority of them have all been fighters. That seems like the only place they can find to put Kakarot with his overpowered Kamehamehas and all that.
Yeah. I'm going to make a guilty confession here, so prepare your pitchfork and your torches. I'm not a crazy DB. I've never been into DBZ.
Ouch.
And man, as someone who I've tried getting into each series multiple times, and it's just not my thing. I've even tried most of the games. Now, that said, Dragon Ball FighterZ is so good, it made me want to try it again, knowing I was still not going to like it, because that fighting game is just so rock solid.
Yeah, it was a solid game.
I can agree with that.
Like, it was enough that, like, I don't want to watch the show, but I was looking up, like, all right, who is he again? Why are there 7 Gokus on the screen? Okay. And then quickly realizing, why is there no Dr. Satan? So
I will admit, when Dragon Ball Super came out,
Mr. Satan.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Super came out, I latched onto it because I am a shonen fanboy trash. And when Naruto finally ended, after its 700 plus episodes,
yeah, no kidding.
I was in this void of like, I need my power of friendship, power up screaming trash moment. And so I was just like, I'm gonna keep watching Super, and then in the end, I was rewarded with that the Tournament of Power, like this universe survival arc at the end. That was a fantastic, like 40, 50 something episodes.
Yeah, indeed.
Minutes.
Yeah, the one part of it that always drove me insane though was the fact that they had this timer for how long the tournament was supposed to last. Yep. It was like 20 minutes long, but they stretched it out over like 30 episodes.
It was
so like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
like 20 minutes would pass in the show, and like 5 seconds elapsed on the timer, and you're just going, that math does not work.
I will say the one thing that I did sit through and genuinely enjoy was watching him get his license. So that was pretty good.
That's a pretty good moment.
Between that and FighterZ, I was like, am I missing out on something? Like, should I give this another try?
Right.
Like, man, that game is great. The big one coming out in November, and I just, without much introduction, Death Stranding is coming out in November.
Yeah, I saw a couple of videos on that, and I was actually a little bit frightened by like this creature with 20 hands that erupted out of it in like tentacle form. I was not having it. I'm like, skip, next.
I don't know how I feel. Like, I love Kojima. I love Guillermo del Toro. Norman Reedus is cool.
Mads Mikkelsen,
I mean, I know it's not going to be PT, and it's not going to be the Silent Hill we wanted originally. But I'm gonna give it a shot.
I'm just sad thinking about PT again, because like we have to have a moment of silence for Silent Hills, because man, that thing was Guillermo del Toro, it was Kojima, it was Norman Reedus. But the thing people forget, and the thing that like got me most interested, Junji Ito was doing designs for it.
Yeah, he was.
Junji Ito working with Hideo Kojima.
Yeah, the monster designs in all the Silent Hill games were actually pretty frightening, like awkwardly scary.
Now,
gotta give him that.
A man who turns everyday things, like the man made a manga about hair fighting, like possessed demon hair, but like, man, I wanted to know what that thing was.
They had such an A team to make the greatest game, and then just
it
all had to fall through. and it was so disappointing. It's just like Spider-Man, Sony, and Marvel right now. Just
And
can't
all these-
escape it.
But all these games will be lost like tears in the rain.
Another November huge release, Pokemon Sword and Shield. That's
Yeah.
pretty divisive right now for a lot of people, a lot of fans.
Is that the ones that are the primary ones that are coming out on Switch?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've heard some people were skipping it. What? Yeah. I don't follow Nintendo that much. I'm primarily PC.
So we like Sword and Shield coming out. People have been like, oh, you know, the Pokemon, they get a little weirder every year. Sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss. The biggest controversy they had is like, hey, we're not going to include all 900 something Pokemon in our game. We're going to limit to a certain amount, so there's no national dex. And everyone apparently just flipped over that. They were just like, I can't bring my favorite Pokemon over, and I can't do this, and I can't do that, or I can't complete the Pokédex. And as someone like, I've completed the Pokédex every game that's ever come out.
Oh, good lord.
But
that's a lot of work.
The Pokemon Bank has all of my Pokemon in there. I have the collection. I have the receipt. I'm good.
Yeah.
But I'm not mad about this because I'm like, yes. Do you know how hard it is to program 900 something individual creatures with its own stats, its own movesets, its own everything? Such a complicated thing, along with new features, into like one game. It makes sense. Don't tax the hardware as often. You can have a better, stronger game. And your Pokemon are still there in the Pokemon Bank and other games. It's nothing really to be mad about, but apparently everyone's still just like on full rage on it.
Something like that, you can lay the blame squarely at the feet of Nintendo for not making a system powerful enough to handle all 900 of them.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That game, so I'm looking at this release calendar, and this is all within the same week, everything I'm about to read to you guys here. So, Pokemon Sword and Shield on the 15th. The same day is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. 4 days after that is Shenmue 3. And then my most anticipated game of the rest of the year, Doom Eternal. Just...
It's going to be a bloody good time on that one.
Just hook it straight into my veins. Let's go. Let's just...
But hey man, you forgot November 15th. Apparently Jumanji the video game is coming out.
Wow.
I had no idea that was a thing, but okay.
I skipped it for a reason.
I'm actually curious about it.
Even though that movie looks pretty good, so...
Oh no. This game looks terrible.
I'm afraid.
Anything could be better than the Area 51 slapper.
Oh no. It's about oh man, this is like PlayStation 1 graphics.
What if we wrought upon ourselves?
I'm probably just gonna... I don't know whether I should buy it or not just for like a troll stream.
Nope. Don't. Just don't.
What are we talking about now?
I'm gonna give it... I wish we
This is how they win.
I'll post the link in the chat for people who don't know what this is, but this is from the Game Informer.
Yeah. But no, there's...
automated, but I can't post the link. That sucks.
It's... Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up here, though, that I'm looking at this going, man, this really is towards the end of the year. I'm getting just excited again, There's that summer break where everything's kind of chilled for a little bit, Maybe you catch up on your back catalog for a little bit.
I forgot the name of that, Operation Cheek Clapper. That's the one Amy was playing last night. I showed
so much more fun than the one that I played.
I showed that to my daughter's friend a few hours ago, and she couldn't stop laughing.
Oh no.
Freaking masterpiece. Episode 5 in December.
I didn't realize there was an episode 3 through 4.
Neither did I. I slept through it apparently. Terminator Resistance?
Yep. An FPS Terminator game.
Fun.
Right in time for the new movie being announced, I guess.
Yeah, I mean I think that movie's out November 1st. It's coming up here real soon.
I always get skeptical with Terminator games. Almost every single one of them that have ever come out have been absolutely terrible.
I was about to say, can we think of a single good Terminator game?
No, but this reminds me, 'cause I looked at the list of to be announced games, and where is my Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicle?
Um,
Oh,
well,
Wasn't-
we're it's in a farm upstate, with all the other Final Fantasy projects that got canceled, like Final Fantasy 13 Arena.
I think we need to talk about that one.
Look, it's playing with all the other ones, It's running free.
Yeah, when there's 70 different Final Fantasy titles out there, I'm sure you could find one to fill your time without Crystal Chronicles.
But
See,
soon
why
as
would
it
you?
announced-
Why would you play any other? Why would you play any other Final Fantasy when you could play a Final Fantasy that involves you suplexing a train? That's all I'm gonna say. Like,
I mean, hey man, that train had to go.
that
Yeah.
is legitimately probably my favorite Final Fantasy. Just that moment alone was one of my favorites.
If I ever see anybody
So
stream that game, I absolutely have to ask him to do it. Even the speedrunners.
Wondered. Yeah.
I asked a speedrunner to do it
I'm
once,
considering
and he
it.
said it would take him too long. I instantly turned off the stream. I'm like, nope. If you're not going to suplex that train, I'm not watching you.
Well, that's my view.
Let's see. I'm seeing in the chat that the Terminator 2 arcade game. That thing was awesome. Yes.
Yes.
Quarter
I
muncher
enjoyed
for
it.
sure, but it was fun.
That thing was great. There's one other one that I actually remember liking quite a bit, which was, let me read this full title. Hold on, wait. Let's see. Terminator 3: The Redemption. That
Okay.
game was actually pretty fun. That was a weird, like, third-person shooter thing. It's the epitome of, it's all right.
But all their,
When you have nothing else to play weekend.
Yeah. So one of the bigger games that was announced that's got me hyped, that kind of brings up and reminds me, is Operation Resistance, or The Resistance, the new Resident Evil survival
That
game.
looks interesting.
I looked at some people who they were at Tokyo Game Show and they did the demo there. And so apparently it's 4 survivors who have to make it to the end together versus one overseer who's like on computers and releasing different things.
Yep, it's a 1v4 game.
Oof.
Yeah.
A lot of those have done terribly in the last recent couple years.
But this one's supposed to looks good so far, but I mean, it's just preliminary footage and a few people
Part of
saying
that is
it looks
that
pretty good.
part of it's that engine is so good looking. Like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, that thing looks good.
Resident Evil 2 was just such a great time when it came out.
Can we believe that came out this year? Like,
It feels like so long ago.
I was sitting there and I was, every year I do a list of like best films, best music, and best games. So about halfway through the year, I sit down, I take stock of what's been going on so far, and I was looking at the releases, and I went, "Man, this thing came out in February." Like, it has been a full year, and that game still sticks in the back of my head.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go back and finish Leon's story because I did Claire's, and then I was like, I'm getting ready to do Leon's, and then I did play Kingdom Hearts 3, and then it was kind of all downhill from there.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played it in my PS4 since then, so.
Yeah, at this point, I have my PS4 just for the exclusives.
Yeah.
Basically for next week when they announce Last of Us Part 2 release date, hopefully. Please.
Oh, please.
Please. Like, please do it.
Yeah, PS4 had a lot of good exclusives that I really wish I would have gotten a PS4 for to play. I've been jealous of a lot of people getting games early. Like I'm a big Square Enix fan. A lot of the games that they release, like the newer games, come out on PlayStation first, and then between months to years later, then PC or Xbox start to get them eventually. But
Yeah.
to be at the front end of the newer games coming out, it makes me so jealous sometimes, and wish I had the disposable income to pick up a PS4 Pro or the capture card.
I recently just had to go get a new Elgato so I could, because my friends, originally when I started, I was like, I want to try and do YouTube with my buddies. We're going to do like a Game Grumps-esque kind of
That's
thing.
how it all starts with the Elgato.
So I had an Elgato. I was like, this is great. I'm going to take it to my buddy's apartment since I still live with my parents at the time due to situations. So I was like, all right, we're going to do that. And so I left all my streaming equipment there, all my like recording equipment, everything over there. Then they moved like twice and they lost my capture card.
Oh,
and all
no.
the confusion. Thanks, guys. Thank you. So I went and bought a new one a couple months back, and so far it's been running pretty well.
Mm.
So I'm going to open things up a little bit for the viewers. If you guys have any questions for Nick, Danzik, or I,
Mm.
lay them on us.
Yeah, it's like I said, I have my PS4 and I literally just have it for whatever exclusive. I think the last thing I played on it was Spider-Man.
Came to the bathroom and complaining about you, Dad.
Uh-oh.
And help, Mom.
That was the wifey.
Help, Rob.
Yeah, my cat came up earlier. He's my stream mascot. I held him up for the viewers. I don't know if you guys had noticed, but I waved his paw around. Whenever I'm streaming, he'll always come up behind me and start buzzing. Like it's my turn to be on cam, Dad. So I'll pick him up and let the people see. I made one of my emotes after my cat as well. That's Woolly Mammoth is the cat's name.
Okay,
There you go.
that's a solid name. Like,
Yeah, he's huge and fluffy, so it fits him perfectly.
that makes total
That's
sense.
awesome.
You guys got any pets that come and bother you while you're streaming?
No. I don't have any pets right now or anymore.
Not ones that bother my stream, you know.
Zero pets for me. But I had a buddy of mine who also streams locally here in Huntsville, and he was between apartment leases. So he had like 2 weeks of being homeless. I'm like, come move in with me for a little while. And he brought his cat Ellie, and she's like the sweetest creature, but she hates the camera. Like she'll jump on my lap and be like, "Oh hi," and then you see she'll look and she can see the webcam's on, and she's like, "Nope, I'm gone." Like don't even bother with me right now.
Mort treating the question like a radio show. He says, long-time listener, first-time caller. My question is, what is your favorite game played this year and favorite game streamed this year? For me, personally, it happens to be Borderlands 3. I know it just came out, and I haven't been playing it or streaming it that long yet, but I absolutely love it. And I really can't get enough. I'm going to be playing the hell out of it for the remainder of this year and through all 4+ of its expansions. I already got the $99 season pass version of it. So that's mine. What about you guys?
I'll let you go ahead on this one.
I'm trying to
Okay.
play a lot of games.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I've been playing this year. It's weird. I'll give you this a good time to think here. Borderlands 3 is a game I keep looking at because I do want to play it, but it's weird. I've watched a good bit of just people playing it to get a good feel for it before I buy it.
Mm-hmm.
That humor though, and that dialogue legitimately turns me off that game in a way that
it's really cringy, like bad movies.
See, there's bad movies though, and then there's we wrote this in 2013 and maybe updated a few references here and there, but this reads like bad Twitter posts. And it's one of those where I want to pick it up, but I'm like, I might just have to pick it up and completely shut off the dialogue.
Oh.
Because man.
So far the Borderlands 3 writing is not as solid as Borderlands 2 was. But it's just a lot of gimmicks and a lot of memes, but really the game shines not in the story, not in the dialogue, but the gameplay and having fun with people.
To be fair, I don't think you play those games for the story.
No, not really.
The strongest legendaries in that game is the sellout gun.
Yeah.
It's a legendary pistol you get on the 3rd or 4th planet, and it's
you gotta kill yourself to get it.
You have to listen to Tyree. He's like, hey, can you go kill yourself in this meat grinder for my stream? It'll be great for the viewers. And
I got that gun too.
The best gun. I haven't gotten that far yet.
That's just...
what they're gonna get.
Yeah, I'll probably pick it up at some point here.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to wait around for games like that. They're still just as fun when you wait a year and you get them as their gold version for cheap, and you get all the expansions with it. That's honestly the best way to buy games is after they've been out a year or two, and you can get all of it all at once without having to wait for it. And like once you've played through a game and you get to the ending and you got to wait another 2 months for the expansion just for more content, you're not as excited about it that much, time spent later.
I finally thought about it, and I know what my favorite game this year was. Hang on, because I need to.
Oh no!
He's got to get some props.
To validate the point, because it's on my Switch.
Oh no!
Let me go ahead and just check how many I've sunk 134 hours and 45 minutes into this game.
Okay.
It's Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Okay.
Okay.
So far, that is my favorite game this year. It's extremely well written. It's not just waifu simulator anymore. It's a good strategy. I've been enjoying the hell out of that game, and I just keep playing it. I've gone through. Oh, there's like 4 different story paths you can go through. I've done 2 of them. I'm almost like halfway done with the 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
I still have the 4th to go through.
Most of the Fire Emblem games have been mobiles, haven't they?
No.
No?
Well,
They're handheld.
handheld. I guess that counts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what the last console one was it Radiant Dawn on the Wii?
Yes, Radiant Dawn on the Wii, which is the sequel to Path of Radiance. Game I can just go for hours on Fire Emblem because I'm such a huge nerd on it. But yeah, that so far 3 Houses has been. God, like if I'm not playing something, if I'm not streaming something or not playing something with friends, I'm playing that game. And because it's on the Switch, I can literally play it anywhere.
Yeah, that might be the biggest draw to that system is that you can walk around with it. But I really wish Nintendo would come out with something stronger, more powerful, that they could, come out with the same games as all the other systems.
I feel like they would, but that's definitely just not their MO. Like it's, at the end of the day, like, oh no, it's not as powerful, but I'm still staring at it because I do own it. Like,
I'm sure Nintendo, if they wanted to, they could make something to blow Sony and Microsoft completely out of the water.
Yeah.
Like in every detail possible. But Nintendo's core MO has always been, we want to make interesting, fun games and systems that are accessible to everybody so have a little bit of everything for everybody. They're family friendly.
You got to remember, this is the same company that in less than a month is putting out a game called Ring Fit Adventure, which is
just Wii Fit, isn't it?
Kind of, except you're fighting monsters, and there's a dragon in a unitard and a 6-pack, and that game looks weird.
It's a little out there.
This is also the same company that sold you cardboard.
That's true. And you bought it. You know you did out there.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to play with that fishing rod.
Oh my god.
You were there.
I saw that in the store a couple days ago.
Now there's VR headsets in there. You can play Smash Brothers in cardboard VR.
Yeah,
Imagine that.
At least they're completely unafraid to use any sort of gimmicks to sell games.
Right.
Yeah. I've been thinking about this now, and I'm really trying to think of an answer that's not my actual answer. Because, man, favorite game I played this year is a game that's been out for over 3 years at this point. And if you watch anything that I've done, it's Rainbow Six, man. I don't... as much as I want to be like...
Oh, okay.
As much as I want to say something else that came out this year, because there are a bunch of great stuff. One of my favorite things I played this year was Void Bastards. And that's a really cool game. But, man, Rainbow Six Siege is just one of my favorite games to stream and play. You talk about hours you put into a game.
Yeah, there's a lot of antics to be had in that one.
To show how many hours I have across, because I started on the Xbox and then moved to the PC. I actually do have this handy dandy tool that will tell me how many hours I have across 2 systems. And when you see 1,500 hours on a screen, it scares you.
Most I've ever played any one game is just over 1,000 hours.
I decided to look up the game that I know has probably my highest hour play rate. And it's Final Fantasy XIV Online at 3,298 hours.
There you go.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, and you got it on the ground floor, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah. Like, I played original Final Fantasy XIV, and then
you got to watch the world blow up.
I watched the world blow up, and then they remade it, and then I got back into Heaven's Sword, and I just kept coming back, and I've been on it pretty frequently. I take a lot of hiatuses and breaks, especially since I started streaming, because I just don't feel like Final Fantasy XIV content, like doing the in-game raids when I try to do it, is that interesting to stream. Yeah. So I can't stream it, and I don't have the time to play it right now.
Yeah, it's kind of more focused on talking to the other players that you're with than talking to the viewers and having engagement with them. So it's kind of a difficult thing to stream sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's extremely the case for Siege. Siege is a game that I've, it's been out for 3.5 years, and I've put so much time into it. It's fun to interact with the chat, but it's also the most frustrating thing to try and explain because it's just so vast now. Like, explaining it as just a 5v5 shooter is underselling it like nothing else. It was to the point where, I mentioned on the first episode of this podcast, hint, hint, watch the other episodes, guys. This show is pretty fun.
Gotta watch it.
Please do.
It slaps.
Okay. Look at. I want that for an emote, so I am thinking about that. I went to an esports tournament for Siege, and that was, a really crazy thing of like, wow, how big a game grows like that. A game that launched very, very rough, much like a Final Fantasy 14 or a Destiny 2 or Destiny period,
But it polished up pretty quickly and then became quite a huge hit right now. A lot of games have done that, I've noticed.
That's always nice to see, yeah.
There's not enough games that actually come out like complete or really good. They have to change it. I think one of the biggest ones was No Man's Sky is now actually playable now.
That game's incredible right now. Like, legitimately is kind of incredible.
Yeah, I saw a few people on our stream team playing it.
Yes.
It does look kind of fun.
I need to do it at some point. I need to.
Another one comes to mind, Fallout 76 has apparently gotten better now that they started adding actual MMO concepts like NPCs into their world.
There's something really cynical about the fact that I was watching that E3 conference and they show up with new features, NPCs. That's not a new feature. Like,
new hardware, monitors.
By the way, we're giving you a controller with your system. It's like, what?
Whoa!
Hearing that lady in the E3 crowd every single time. Woo!
How about that dude's apology on stage?
Man,
you just
76.
had to say you were sorry, and I would have probably gone back to your stuff.
But by the way, we added a battle royale to it. See you guys later.
I keep wanting to love 76, and I still like it, but I run into so many bugs and crashes so often that it's just hard to play. You get into it, and then all of a sudden, nope, you're denied. Crash to desktop. Too bad.
Yeah.
It just makes me want to play something else.
I'm looking at my desktop now, and I can't believe I keep forgetting this game. Like, Division 2 came out this year, and you want to talk about a loot shooter that has its fangs in me like nothing else? That game has like the most satisfying make the number bigger for me, because at the end of the day, that is the thing I love about those games, is making the game bigger, making the number 205 instead of 204, and spending hours to get that one piece.
Oh yeah.
That game is like the epitome of that for me. Like, I still jump in every few months of like, all right, time to kick this. Let's see what's happening in Washington D.C. Oh, it's still infested. Okay, cool.
But nothing's changed.
Nope, nothing has changed.
Yeah, I recently played through all of the Division 1, and it is really a fantastic game. Every time they have sales on Steam, I got it for like $20 for the entire version, and that's what I'm talking about with gold versions. Like, if you see the Division 1 come out on a sale for, like $15-20, it's absolutely worth getting. I don't have any opinion on the Division 2 yet. I haven't picked it up yet, but I'm just waiting for its gold version to come out so I can, play through it on, with everything intact and all the bugs fixed and everything.
Yeah, especially with the first Division, I was someone who picked up that game when it came out, and that game launched incredibly rough. Like, this was a game that, before WoW Classic happened, this was the game where people were waiting in line to exit the tutorial because you couldn't leave the tutorial because it was an item in the world that only one person could interact with at a time, so lines formed in-game.
Oh, no.
I waited 2 hours to get out of that tutorial area.
Ouch.
That sounds horrible.
Yep.
No.
That game, that was a fun launch, man. That was...
You mentioned checking your desktop for games, and I did the same just out of curiosity. I immediately regretted it because a lot of the games... I built this new PC in May, and I don't have all my 298 games installed from my Steam library. The ones that I do have were from my latest... I do a video with the guy who edits my videos We call it Bundle Buddies, where we basically give each other. We have $5 on Steam, and we just go buy each other games that we have to like play, review, mash up in one video. And he gave me some delightful classic games, such as Bad Dream Coma, Hentai Area 51, Viking Simulator 2017, Kill the Hentai, Simulator Fight for Your Destiny. He did give me Kingdom Classic, so that was nice of him. Throw me a bone on that one.
Okay.
It's a lot. So that's the icons that popped up on, which all of those games. Let me tell you, I was suffering with that recording.
Yeah,
that sounds unpleasant. Like,
I've seen a few YouTubers make their careers off of bad games like that.
Hentai Area 51 was pretty funny though, because it's just you're just playing an anime girl, you're raiding Area 51. The big secret is that you go in one of the tents and you see like the brain villain from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shrek.
Krang?
Yeah, Krang. You see Krang, Shrek, and one other dude in a tube. And then it says like an achievement pops up saying like clap them cheeks. And then you just start killing guards.
Oh man.
Wow.
That's why like when this Hobo Slayer actually played that clap them cheeks Area 51 game, it was a masterpiece compared to what my experience was with an Area 51 game right now.
The bar was set low enough that you're like, okay.
I think the best thing was my friend's video in his play. He ran and jumped over the mountain. He like just kind of Skyrim walk up the mountain, jump out of the map. And the longer you go, his character sprite started digitizing and breaking apart on some molecular level. And I was like, oh no!
Oh no. That's terrifying. That's actually terrifying.
As soon as I can get my editing software under wraps that I paid for, then I will have that video put up on my channel and his channel.
Okay.
This is busy ready.
God.
God.
I'm looking at my desktop again, and man, I've been so happy that the Yakuza games are finally on PC. Because, let me tell you, it's good to see my boy Kiryu get the treatment he deserves. Because look, those Yakuza games are just incredible, and it's frustrating and exciting to figure out that there's a game series that's been out for over a decade, and it's made for specifically me. And like, I'm just now finding out about it. Like, I'm so happy to have so many games to go through, you know?
Yeah, my Steam library has gotten just absolutely massive after spending a lot of time in Humble Bundle. Those monthly supplies, they made my to play list for rainy Sundays just horrendously long. So many things I got to catch up on that I can't even find nearly enough time for. I think I got a couple of Yakuza games in there in that list. I may have to try.
Those games are. It's a lot of time to put into them, but they are worth every bit of time you do. Like,
it's definitely a super enjoyable time. I didn't play it, but one of my buddies streamed it. I'm a moderator for his channel, so I watched all the episodes. It was just such a great thing to experience.
There's a character named Mr. Libido.
Yes.
And he dances in his underwear, and it's amazing. And
Japan.
There's the robot man who has to poop. There's not Michael Jackson, but Miracle Jackson.
It's like Saints Row the Third, but if you took it to Japan.
Okay. Sounds about right.
Made it less gang violence and more
it's more Yakuza drama, you know?
Yeah.
Who set up Kiryu, you know?
The Steam summer sale was bad for me. My backlog doubled. Summer sales.
Okay. I got something that I know you're both going to relate to here quite a bit, which is, let's say Steam Summer Sale right now. You're clicking through, you're adding stuff to your cart. You're like, yeah, I'll get this, and yeah, I'll take that franchise pack, and I'll click this one, and I'll add it. You go to your cart, and you click on it, and you realize you already own it. And then there's that moment of, now that you own it, you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to play it now.
Yeah, I do know that feeling.
That happens so much. It's existential dread. Like, this is what Lovecraft wrote about, I'm pretty sure, was that.
Oh, I completely have that feeling every time. Like I look at my library, and I think it would be a great thing if I just went from like top to bottom and played all of the games. And then I just don't want to do that. Not right now or ever.
No, and like I said, it's something you're like, you know what? I think I'd like. For me, it was like, I think I'll play through I'll play through Metal Gear Solid 5 again. Yeah, that looks like fun. Add to my cart. You already own this, and I was like, oh,
No, well,
I guess I'll play something else. Like,
thanks for crushing my soul, Steam launch. Or Steam.
thanks, Steam backlog.
It doesn't help that most of my games are RP like 60 hours plus.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't help that one of my games on my Steam is Rainbow Six, and that is the thing I play the most of. So it's like, man, I want to put more time into this, but I gotta do some unranked matches tonight, Oh, no.
I will say this is a game I really don't like anymore, but it's always funny for like a good meme. It's 100% orange juice.
Oh, no.
Have either of you heard of that?
Is that something like I Am Bread? Is it like that game? No.
Definitely not.
So it's very simplified anime board game, like Mario Party kind of style. Yep. You roll dice, you damage. You want to be the person who either you get a certain amount of currency and then you win, or you get you beat a certain amount of people and you get enough wins and then you can win the game. So it's a very Mario Party style game. But the huge thing about this is that the AI are built to cheat. You are cheated every single time you play this game.
Ish.
100%.
Okay.
This game cheats.
That sounds kind of great and awful. Like,
and like the memes they talk about, like you play Mario Kart, Mario winners. This is one of those games.
Okay.
You will hate anyone you're playing with. It's just, I can't not be angry when I play that game.
Oh boy.
Because it's all RNG, it's all random, it's all dice roll. So if it sucks, it sucks. It's perfectly balanced and perfectly fair, but not in the moment when it's screwing me over. I don't like that.
Oh man.
Alrighty, gentlemen. Well, it has been fun, but it's about that time I should let everybody know where to find you. So, Mr. Nick, you want to drop some of your information for these viewers so that they can find you after the stream?
I would absolutely love to. Obviously, to recap my intro, I'm on the stream. We're all on the stream team here of Hobo Slayers. So first of all, check everyone out. Like, what I love about this is everyone plays something totally different. There's games that I have not heard of that I love watching people play through. But to tag myself in, I'm on Twitch and pretty much everything at NikUncut. You can see my name below me here, but I don't have a regular streaming schedule due to the fact that I work the beast known as retail. So
and possibly random hours. I get it.
Yeah, it's random hours. So I typically tweet when I'm going live ahead of time. And actually, fortunate enough, last night, you folks are absolutely ridiculous, and you guys put me at 100 followers last night. So an immense thank you for everyone. This is it's surreal, like 100 in broader scope isn't a big number, but like
when you're starting out and you get to that milestone, it's
exactly, it's someone took the time to hit the follow button. It's kind of crazy to think that. But enough gushing. I stream a lot of Siege. I'll be up next week, probably Tuesday. I will be on this podcast, although I'm not going to try and be on a ton. I want to space out my things here. I realize I've already been on twice. I'm the first repeat, and I will hold that title. But yeah, what about you guys? Where can I watch your stuff, please?
Danzik, you're up.
I'm on Twitch. Twitch.tv/DanzikStreams. DanzikStreams is the moniker I use for most things. Facebook, Twitter, you can find me over there. YouTube, it's just Danzik the Rogue, which is my usual tag for everything that I play and go through. Like I said, when I first when we started this, I'm relatively new to the stream team, and so far meeting all of you guys has been very helpful. I've been getting my follower count, everything's been slowly climbing up, and my quality of my streams are going up better and better each time. And it's really thanks to you guys sweating me in, like in your group, that it's really kind of made me want to take streaming even further, because now I'm really genuinely enjoying it.
Yeah, it gets addictive.
It does, especially I work a 9 to 5, quote unquote. It's 6:30 to 3:30 Monday through Friday, and so when I get home from working with clients all day, I'm like, I want to stream, but I have all the other stuff to do. I try to stream every Wednesday, Friday, and then one time on the weekend. But my stream schedule is very tentative given what's going on by day.
I gotcha. Yep, so you guys can find me on twitch.tv/treasure_hunter_Tom. Pretty close to the same on Twitter, T_H_Tom. So for my channel, I usually stream every other day, starting on Sundays. So I go Sunday, Tuesday, and on. But
yeah,
just want to thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. It's been a lot of fun doing the podcast. I'll definitely have to come back and watch others, or possibly do a repeat. Thank you.
Absolutely.
The cool thing about this show, and Ms. Hobo Slayer, who obviously got this whole thing started, made a really good point on the first episode that I was lucky enough to be a part of, is that the idea of this show is to highlight everyone. You know, it's I think this is my first time actually talking to you guys, and for everyone's first time, all of us actually talking. You know, and it's cool. You know, it's weird meeting new people again, but you know, I kind of love it, especially when, oh yeah, we're all also nerds who love streaming, you know?
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure meeting you, gentlemen. Have yourselves a wonderful evening, and we will see you guys on the next podcast. Adios.
See you, everyone.
Don't forget to clap them cheeks.
Oh, no. That's a way to end it. That's a great drop the mic. Oh, goodness. All right. Let's see. All right, my phone isn't on fire. Perfect.